Hey guys, how do you do for me, aka how do you do for me? And today I have the Air Jordan 12 Low playoff performance review for you guys. I don't know why I said playoff, but let's get right into it. Starting with the traction of the Jordan 12 Lows, we have the classic Jordan 12 outsole. We have 2 pods of herringbone, and then we also have the smooth outsole around it. I think it's part of the midsole, but don't quote me on that because I'm not really sure if this is like part of the midsole or just consider the outsole and stuff. But whatever, let's talk about the traction's performance. I thought that after you broke these in, after you wore them on the court for around 5 to 10 minutes moving around, you kind of break in the traction, which I guess doesn't really happen in today's shoes, but it started to stick to the ground really nicely after a little bit of break-in period. The herringbone bites really nicely, and also I feel like something that really helps the Jordan 12's traction is the smooth part around the herringbone, which is really surprising. I wasn't expecting that, but I think you guys can see some of the dust on the smooth part of the outsole. It's really interesting because there's no texture or no pattern on that smooth part, but it still grips to the floor really nicely when you're playing. On super clean courts, you're gonna probably get the best traction you can get out of any shoe, and I don't really like to say that because I don't want to be exaggerating or anything, but I do feel like I was that confident in the shoe's traction. So on super clean courts, if you play on super clean courts, you're gonna be good to go in the Jordan 12s. However, on a little bit more dusty courts, you're gonna have to wipe here and there, but you're still gonna get very good traction as well. I feel like dust does stick to the bottom, but a quick wipe and you'll be good to go. You'll be sticking like glue. And then as for outdoors, I feel like these would last a little bit longer than most of today's shoes, because I feel like Jordan Retros were a lot more durable, or for basketball wise, I feel like you could wear them for multiple seasons because of the materials and stuff that they use. But I feel like the outsole is pretty durable, so if you want to hoop in them outside, I'm not sure how long they'll last, but I think they'll perform pretty well outdoors. And also I feel like they would perform longer, or they would last longer than Kobe's or KD's, Kyrie's and stuff like that. I think that this outsole is a little bit more durable than those setups that we have kind of today, but that's just my opinion. Moving on to the cushioning of the Jordan 12s, this was probably my favorite part of the shoe. It was crazy, full length zoom and a Phylon midsole. I believe this is Phylon, don't quote me on that, but let's just talk about how good it felt. So as you guys can see, they have carbon fiber peeking out. They have a carbon fiber plate on the bottom. I didn't really notice it, to be honest with you. I guess it's just there for support. I don't know if it's supposed to make help your foot spring or whatever, this thing, I don't know how that stuff works. But I can definitely tell you that the Jordan 12's cushioning is really nice because they have full length zoom, and after jumping around in it a bit, it starts to break in and it feels super nice. Full length zoom, I feel like it's not crazy. It's not like the Nike KD9's full length zoom where it's a huge bag, but I do feel like it's kind of low to the ground, but you still get that full response and impact protection that you really would want in a basketball sneaker. And I think that this setup is one of the best cushioning setups that you can get in a basketball sneaker. That's one of the reasons why I actually picked up the Jordan 12s to review, because I was so excited for that full length zoom, and the way that they implemented with the midsole, I didn't really pay attention to the foam or whatever, because I just felt the zoom and how nice it felt on my joints, and just how well it felt when I was playing and stuff. So Jordan 12's cushioning was super good. You're gonna be kind of low to the ground. You're not gonna be as high off the ground as a lot of other shoes, and also you're gonna get great impact protection and you're gonna get great response. So Jordan 12's cushioning, as you guys can tell, I'm a big fan of. Moving on to the materials, as you guys can see, we have, I'm not sure, I don't know if this is real leather or synthetic leather. I cannot tell you guys, but it's supposed to be leather, or mimic leather. So how the materials felt, at first they feel a little bit stiff, especially the white part of the shoe. The black part is a little bit softer leather. And I feel like after a while of playing in these, the fit and also just the materials in general will break in and it starts to feel a lot better. The materials are pretty soft. They're not as soft as mesh, don't get me wrong. These are definitely a little more stiff, but in turn, you're gonna get a lot more durability out of the shoe. And after you break in the shoe, it just conforms to your foot really nicely. And I think the materials felt really good. It's kind of like a switch up like when I played in these compared to like a lot of the newer models. As you guys can tell, in mostly in today's sneakers for basketball, there are hyperfuses, mesh, wovens and stuff like that. So you're not going to get leather like they used to back in the day. So I feel like this was a nice switch up and I felt really comfortable in the leather. It definitely is a little bit heavier and you can tell like these are heavier than the Kobe's. But I think that it's a good trade-off because the materials were really comfortable in my opinion. Moving on to the fit, in my opinion, these, if you're going to pick up the Jordan 12 lows, because I do not have a pair of that Jordan 12 highs or mids, I would definitely go half a size down because I feel like the whole shoe runs a little bit narrow, and I'll get to more of like why you should go down half a size in the support section. But when I went down half a size, I have a little bit of a wide foot, but that was no problem due to the leather upper. After you break it in, like the width of my foot like was totally fine, and also it didn't hurt while I was breaking in the shoe, and the length was actually really good for me. So I went down from 11.5, which is my true size, to 11, and it worked perfectly well for me. So if you guys want to hoop in these, I would definitely suggest going half a size down. But also if you can, make sure you try these on because my foot is different than yours. But let's talk about the fit. So after I broke the shoes in, playing in it in a while, like I was able to tie the laces tighter because the material's kind of broken, and in turn that actually made the fit feel a lot better for my foot. At first it was kind of like stiff and awkward and it didn't really conform to my foot that well, but after a while of playing in it, I did have a little bit of dead space in the toe, but that's just because this is leather and I feel like leather kind of stretches over time. But the overall fit was nice. The midfoot containment and like the toe, like there's just a little bit of dead space in the toe, I would say, but from here to here of the shoe, you're going to be good to go as long as you tie your laces tight. And then for the fit on the heel, I feel like this is where the most concern is because the lockdown, heel lockdown, moving into kind of the support section, I didn't feel completely locked down, like my ankle and just my whole heel in general didn't feel completely locked down when I was playing. Don't get me wrong, I still felt supported and my heel still felt locked in. It just didn't feel completely secure. Like I know that if I was playing in the mids, that would definitely not be a problem, but I feel like I could wiggle my foot a little bit, so I just didn't feel completely locked down. So yeah, fit overall was pretty good, but it just wasn't the best around the heel area for me. So overall, I was really surprised with the Jordan 12 lows because I felt like they did a super good job. I know Jordan brand's probably not like in the lab like, oh, like we gotta make this like the best performing low top basketball shoe ever. Like people are gonna be hooping these hard. Like they're probably thinking like, oh, you're gonna wear these with jeans, you're gonna wear them with joggers and stuff like that. So they're like, yeah, whatever. Like just cut the whole top part off and then we'll call them lows and sell them for $170. But in my opinion, I felt like they still performed really well. All jokes aside, like I feel like if they did intend these for like playing basketball in, I think they did a pretty good job. The only thing I would say is that your heel does not feel completely locked down, or at least in my experience, it didn't feel completely locked down. But everything else in the shoe I feel like was really good. Also, another thing to note is if you have a narrower foot, I'm not sure if you're gonna have more dead space in the toe because I did go down half a size and I have a wide foot and these still fit me really well. But I did have a little bit of dead space in the toe. But that's just something to keep in mind. And I feel like leather uppers will always stretch out a bit, so that's something to keep in mind. But other than that though, I feel like everything on the Jordan 12 lows was really good. Like the traction, the cushion, the materials, the support, everything was above my expectations, and I'm super glad that I picked these shoes up because I feel like they just really surprised me, and I feel like low-key, like these beat a lot of the low tops that I played in today. So that's pretty crazy when this shoe came out a long time ago. Let's see, like if we're on the 31s now, these were the 12s. That's like, I don't know, like 19 years? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I think around 19 years. So they still held up pretty well against today's competition. So that's pretty crazy. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna wrap it up for my performance review on the Air Jordan 12 lows. And wait, can we just talk about how good these shoes look? Like, okay, to me, I feel like the mid-tops definitely look a lot better, but just the color blocking and this colorway is just so nice to me. It's so sexy. Like the white bottoms with the white outsole and then the little gray hit right here and then the black tumbled leather with the red jump. Man, it's just, whoo! Like, I feel like I just need the Jordan 12 mids. Like, Jordan Brand, please release those because I will buy them in a heartbeat, because those will probably be better in performance and they look sexy as fuck. So I definitely want the Jordan 12 playoffs. Hopefully they'll drop soon. But yeah, that's gonna pretty much wrap it up. Especially, I think I enjoy the Jordan 12s more, or I appreciate them more because they're a better performer on court. So yeah, that's gonna pretty much wrap up my performance review. I know I've been talking your guys' ears off, but yeah, that's gonna pretty much wrap it up. Make sure you give it a like if you did enjoy the video or found it helpful or just really liked my content. And then also subscribe to my channel if you guys want to see more videos like this. Maybe I'll do even more Jordan retro performance reviews because this one definitely did surprise me. So that's gonna pretty much wrap it up. I know I said that probably like 3 times already, but yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.